That's hilarious.
Okay, so we have begun the recording. So today, if you want to write the date, today is January 10th. We are going to be looking at a list of words that go with certain operations and matching words with the correct operation. We will be writing one-step algebraic expressions and two-step algebraic expressions. We probably are not going to cover number 4, which is writing two-step algebraic expressions with grouping symbols. This gets a little complicated. We're going to stick to the basic ones for today. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is talk about words for operations. So when we are asked in a problem to subtract, it doesn't always say subtract. For example, when we did our warm-up, we subtracted in this problem. And what words in this problem? Haley, I think it was you who did that. What words told you to subtract?
Less.
Yeah, it said Sandy has 2 less cats than Catherine, so we knew that we should subtract. And on the list, we see less than is right here. So when we have less than, and you might want to put a star beside it because that's one we'll see a lot, if it says 3 less than a number, we could use a letter to represent the number that we don't know, like they used y, and they said y minus 3. Another common word is fewer than, so put a star beside that one. Decreased by, take away. Those are all words that you're going to see quite a bit. Obviously, minus means subtract, right? Pretty much everyone knows that. And then difference between. When you find the difference between two things, you are subtracting. These words, from and less, you're not going to see as much, so don't put a star by them. For example, if you had 2 from a number, you would do n minus 2. And just the word less by itself, without the word than, if it says just less, we would actually do it in a different order. So when it says less than, we start with the variable, we subtract 3. But if it says a number less 3, we're starting with the number, subtracting 3. You're hardly ever going to see it worded this way. Most people, when they say less than. Okay, for addition, let's look back at our warm-up a second. David, you did the first one. What word in there told you to add?
It said 3 more than.
Okay, so he had 3 more than Arnold. So if we go to our list, that's right here, more than. More than tells us to add. Some other common ones, plus, obviously. I think all of you would know if it said plus that you're going to add. And is not used as often, so we're not going to star that one. You might have something like, it might say 3 and a number. Or when we're doing fractions, sometimes we say...
Interruption. Would Brian Allison please report to the office?
Okay, sometimes we say 1 and a half. That really means 1 plus a half when we have a mixed number. So don't star that one, but you'll see that sometimes. Added to, obviously, is addition. Greater than can be addition. If you say 3 greater than a number, we would do n plus 3. If something is increased by, so if a number is increased by 2, you're going to add 2 to that number. Finding the total is usually addition. And then there's another word that's not up here. When you subtract, you're finding the difference. When you add, you're finding the what? Another word for total. So you want to know what that word is?
Sum.
Andre? The sum. So add that word on, sum, and put a star beside it because that is a really common word that's going to appear a lot. Okay, moving on to words for multiplication and division. That was 1. Okay, multiplication, the obvious one is times, right? Pretty much everyone knows that if it says times, it means you're going to multiply. So if you have 5 times a number, you're going to do 5 times a number. I mean, how else do we say that? We pretty much know that means multiply. Product, when we're finding the product of something, we're multiplying. That's what it's called. When we add 2 numbers, we get a sum. When we subtract 2 numbers, we get a difference. When we multiply 2 numbers, we get a product. At is not used very often. you might have, like, say you're buying 3 things at $1.59 a piece, then you would multiply 3 times $1.59. But that you're not going to see as much. Double, triple, etc. Say you were saying double a number or twice a number. I think you're going to see twice more often than you'll see double. Of is used a lot. So say you were finding 2/3 of a number. You would multiply 2/3 times that number. So this is actually used a lot. And another word that's used, it's on the division list, this word per, but sometimes it's used for multiplication also. So add per to the multiplication list. It just depends on the context it's used in. If you say you're going to spend $1 per pencil and you buy 5 pencils and you want to know how much you're going to spend, you're going to multiply 5 times $1 to get $5. So it just depends on the context. You kind of have to read carefully if you have the word per. Haley?
Is it, I know a different word for purrs, my cat purrs all the time.
Yeah, well, that's a different spelling. All right, division. Some words that we're commonly going to see are quotient. So we talked about when we add, we find a sum. When we subtract, we find a difference. When we multiply, we find a product. And when we divide, we find a quotient. You'll see the word quotient used a lot. You'll also see half of a fair amount. If you're finding half of something, you're dividing it by 2. Goes into, you'll see sometimes. We talk a lot. We use this word a lot. We say, when we were just doing simplifying expressions and we were factoring, we say, what goes into both of these numbers? And that's like division. And the word per is used sometimes for division. Like if we're finding the unit cost, if it says $8 per 50, and we want to know how much it costs for 1, we're going to divide 8 divided by 50. But I don't think you see that quite as frequently as you do in multiplication. Here are some words that you're going to see for equals. The word is means equals. Is the same as, obviously would be equals. Gives, you don't see as often. Will be and was are words that are just the past tense or future tense of is. And then is equivalent to. We've had the word equivalent a lot where you were doing equivalent expressions, deciding which ones were the same. So you will see that. Okay, keep this handy. It's on the next page. I'm going to ask you to tell me which operation goes with each of the following words. So you're going to read each of these words. For example, sum. Jenna, what operation do you use to find a sum? Addition. So you'll just put an addition sign beside the word sum. So you're going to go through all these words, look at your sheet if you need to, and then we'll go over this in just a minute. On the spot. Okay, twice. Kendra, what would you do if it says twice? Multiply. Good. Dennis, if you were finding a quotient, what do you do? Good. Alexis, if you're finding the difference. Good. Gavin, if you're finding a number that's less than. Minus. Good. Jenna, if you're finding a number that's more than.
Addition.
Very good. Savannah, if you're finding a number that equals, what sign would you put for that? Equals, yeah. They really just want you to write an equal sign there. Ashley, this is a tough one. Divided by?
Division.
Division. Good. Brady, another hard one. Times. Okay. Haley is? Equals. Good. Ooh, here's another hard one. Andre, added to. Addition. Okay, decreased by. Jocelyn. Good. Goes into. Mason. Division. Increased by. Leah Metz. Addition. And of. Haley Brown.
Multiplication.
Multiplication. All right, good job. Now that we know what words line up with what operations, we're going to be using that in the next slide. So this objective is writing one-step algebraic expressions. An algebraic expression, just to review, is, first of all, an expression does not have an equal sign. So it's what we've been doing. We've been simplifying expressions and factoring expressions. There were no equal signs in there. We just had a couple terms with some kind of a math symbol in there. An algebraic expression has to have a variable, so it has to have a letter in it somewhere. So we're writing algebraic expressions. So we have a temperature of T degrees. Here's the variable, or the letter that we're going to use, the letter T, and it's increased by 5 degrees. This word increased by is what tells us what we are going to do. Kendra, what would you do if it says increased by? What operation? Addition. So we're going to write this expression as T plus 5. So we could take any temperature and increase it by 5 degrees by adding 5 to any temperature. That's what that expression says. Okay, the next one says 5 cats. So here's one of our numbers. 5 cats fewer than C cats. Dennis, what does fewer than tell us to do? Subtract. So this one's a little tricky maybe. Should we subtract it as 5 minus C or C minus 5? What do you think? Raise your hand, tell me what you think. Ashley?
5 minus C.
Nope. We do it the other way. Let's just look back for a second at the problem that we had in the warm-up. Catherine has 4 cats. Sandy has 2 less cats than Catherine. We didn't do 2 minus the number that Catherine had. We did how many Catherine started with, and we subtracted Sandy. We did the 4 minus 2. So when it says less than, it means we have to start with whatever it's less than and subtract the number. So we're going to do C minus 5. Oh, sorry, this one says fewer than. That you have to be really careful of. That word than usually switches around the 2 numbers or the 2 variables that you see. Okay, the next one says the product of 5 and n nickels. Alexis, what word up there tells us what operation we might do? Product. And what do we do for product? Multiplication. Good. So when we write 5 times n, the best way to write this is just 5n. Because we know from doing evaluating expressions and all of the other things that we've been doing that when we have the 5 and the n right next to each other, that means to multiply. That's the best way to write it in an algebraic expression. You don't want to write 5 times n like that because we're going to be using the letter x as a variable a lot of the time, and that might look like a variable. You could write it as 5 times n like this, but this is the better way because you're using as few symbols as possible, so it keeps it a little simpler for us. Okay, the next problem, we have a dinner bill of D dollars divided among 5 friends. Gavin, what word up there tells us what operation we might do? What? What, do you see some words in the sentence that tell us what operation we would do? Divided. Okay, what does divided mean to do? Divide. So we would have D divided by 5. The best way to show division when you're writing algebraic expressions is D over 5, like this. This means D divided by 5. I'm not going to take points away from you if you use the other division sign, but it's best to write it this way. That's how we'll be using division the most in days and weeks to come. Okay, this one doesn't give us a specific letter. We have a specific number. It says 6 more than a number, and we don't know what variable we're supposed to use, so we get to pick what letter we want to use. Jenna, what variable do you want to use?
J.
J, okay, J for Jenna. So we're going to use the letter J to represent a number. Jenna, do you see some words in there that tell you what operation you might use?
Yes, I do. You add and you underline more than.
Good. More than means to add. So we're going to start with the number J, and it's 6 more than J,
J's a number.
so we're going to add 6.
Is now.
Yeah, J represents some number, we don't know what it is. So if it's 6 more than a number, we can start with any number, which J represents, any number, and we add 6. Okay, next one. Savannah. Again, we have a number and 7. What letter would you like to use to represent the number?
C.
C. Okay, so we're going to use C. Savannah, do you see any words in there that tell us what operation we might use?
Multiplication.
Yep, how did you know to multiply?
We know what a product is.
Product, good. So the word product tells us to multiply. So we have 7 times C, which is just 7C. Okay, on the next slide, there are 4 expressions for you to try writing on your own. So I'll give you some time to do that, and then we'll go over it. Okay, number 1, Ashley, if you're swimming m meters per minute for 3 minutes, what are you going to do?
N times 3.
Okay, and how did you write m times 3?
M with a dot and 3.
Okay, good. So m dot 3. What's another way you could write m times 3, David?
And 3.
Well, you actually don't want to write the letter first. Usually you want to put the number first.
Oh,
3m. Yeah, 3m is better. There are actually, sometimes in Get More Math, they actually do put the variable first, but that's not standard. We usually put the number first and the variable second. Okay, Haley Ryan, 12 heartbeats more than x heartbeats. 12 plus x, or you can write x plus 12. X plus 12, when we have more than, technically we should start with the x. But when you're doing addition, it doesn't matter what order you add in. So if you wrote 12 plus x on a quiz, I would not mark that wrong. But if it was subtraction, then it does become important to put it in the right order. Andre, number 3, a price P decreased by 16. Minus, so how would you write that? Good, P minus 16. There's no word than in there, so we don't have to start with the 16, we can start with the P. Okay, number 4, Jocelyn, 6 divided by a number. F divided by 6. Well, if it's 6 divided by a number, you just said F divided by 6. You just said it backwards. Can you start with the 6? 6 over F. Good. I like how you said over, so it specifies exactly what you did. You could also write 6 divided by F like this, and that would be okay also. But this is the one that I prefer. Okay, hang on just a sec. We're going to be writing 2-step algebraic expressions now. So 2-step algebraic expressions contain 2 operations. So we might be adding and multiplying in the same expression, or we might be dividing and adding. We might be dividing and subtracting, or multiplying and subtracting. Usually there's one of either addition or subtraction, and then one of either multiplication or division. So the example here says we have 6 more than twice a number. So we've got the number 6, and then we have a number. I'm going to use n. That's my favorite variable to use, n for number. Yes?
You know how there could be like an addition?
Mhm.
Could there be like 2 additions?
It's possible, but we're not going to see those in any of the ones that we write. Okay, so we have 2 numbers in here, 2 words that tell us what to do. We have more than, which is adding, and we have twice, which is what? What do we do when we see the word twice? Kendra? We multiply. So we have 6 more than twice a number. Now remember, when we do order of operations, we do multiplication first. So I'm going to actually write this first. If I'm doing twice a number, I'm doing 2 times n, and then I'm doing 6 more than that, so I'm going to add 6. Okay, the next problem, Mason, what are the 2, or actually in this case, 3 numbers that we're going to use?
5.
No, not this one.
8.
Uh-huh.
7.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know.
and a number. So again, I'm going to use n. That's my favorite. Okay, what are some words, Leah Metz, in this problem that tell us what to do?
Difference
Okay, and difference tells us to do what?
to subtract.
Uh-huh.
And divide means to divide.
Okay. So, David, what two things are we dividing? N and? What are we dividing the n by? By 7. So this part of it is n divided by 7. I'm going to write that first. Now I'm finding the difference between 8 and what I just wrote. So I'm going to write this as 8 minus n over 7. Okay, let's look for the numbers in the next one. Haley Brown, what are the numbers that you see in the next one?
5
Uh-huh.
and Allison is 4.
What?
A number and my little number 4.
And 4. Okay? So again, I'm going to use n. Okay, Kendra, what are some words in there that tell us what operations we're going to do? Fewer than? What do we do for fewer than? Mm-hmm. And what's the other word?
Quotient.
Quotient. What do we do when we see quotient? Good job looking back at your notes. You can find the word quickly. Divide. Okay, so I'm going to think about my division first. Dennis, what two things am I dividing?
8 and 4. I mean, 5 and 4.
No, it says the quotient of what two things?
4 and
4 and,
a number.
yeah, let's start with the number. So a number and 4. So if we're finding the quotient of a number and 4, what are we going to put on top?
And
N. So we have n over 4. And then we have 5 fewer than that. So Alexis, how are we going to write the whole expression now? Are we going to write 5 minus n over 4, or are we going to write n over 4 minus 5? Good. How did you know that we need to write it that way?
Because if it's 5 fewer than the quotient.
Yeah, and this word than tells us that we're going to reverse the order. Anna, question? Not quite. We're almost done here. Yes. In a minute when we finish this off. Okay. All right, last one. We have 3 less than the product of a number and 8. Gavin, what are the numbers in this problem? Or variables? Okay, 3 and 8. And then do we also have a variable somewhere? That's a word that tells us what to do. Like, for example, in this one, we had 5, a number, and 4. Is there anything like that in this one? See here where it says a number? That's going to need to be in our expression somewhere. So we need to count this as one of our numbers. Even though we don't know what it is, it's still a number. It's just represented by a variable. Jenna, what are some words in there that tell us what to do?
Less than, product,
Okay, when it says less than, what do we do?
subtraction.
Subtract. When it says product, what do we do?
So product, multiply.
Multiply. Okay, Savannah, let's start with products. The order of operations, we usually start with multiplying. What are we finding the product of? What two things?
And divided by 4 minus 5.
No, we're on this one, Savannah.
Oh. 3.
What are we finding the product of?
8 and minus 3.
Wow, you just did the whole thing. You answered like the next question. Good. So we're finding the product of 8 and n, and then we're doing 3 less than that. So you said that absolutely correctly, Savannah. 8n minus 3. Okay, next slide has some of these problems for you to try. Okay, Ashley, what are the numbers that we're going to use in the first one?
8 and 3 and number.
Okay, what letter do you want to use to represent a number?
And
N, okay. Okay, Brady, what words are in there that tell us what to do?
Quotient.
Okay, what does quotient mean? Division. Okay, what else is up there? Any other words? Yep. Oh gosh, we're done. All right. Okay, so we were looking at this one. We were doing the quotient of a number in 3. Brady, how would we write the quotient of a number in 3? We want just this part right now, the quotient of a number in 3. How do I write that? Quotient means division.
6 divided.
No, there's no 6 there. There's an N and a 3. That's all. Yeah.
And divided by 3.
Yeah, you were making it too hard. Just
I was
N.
looking at the bottom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're not there yet. Okay. N divided by 3. Haley Ryan, how do we then show 8 more than that? We have N over 3. Yeah, plus 8. So here we have 8 more than the quotient of a number in 3. Okay, next one. Andre, what are our numbers that we have in here? 6 and 8. And do we have another one too? We kind of do. It's not one that we know what it is.
No, it's a product, so you do.
Wait. We need to find our other number. So up here we had 8, a number, and 3. Here we have 6, 8, and yeah, a number. What letter do you want to use to represent that? N. Okay. All right, let's see. Jocelyn, what words up there tell us what to do? Okay, less than. What do we do when it says less than? Okay, what else up there? Product. And what does that tell us to do? What's that? No, adding is finding the sum. Product is... Can anyone help her out? Haley?
Well, we put circle 1 and then
No. We're asking what does product mean?
product means to multiply.
Multiply. Okay? So we have 8 less than the product of 8 and a number. Mason, you want to take a stab at the whole thing? How will we write that?
You underline some.
We're done underlining. We're ready to write the expression.
Oh, I thought we were done.
Nope, we're still on this one. We're just going to write the expression.
6 minus 8.
Okay, first let's do this part. We have the product of 8 and a number. How do we write the product of 8 and a number?
Number times 8.
Yeah, number times 8, or we'll do 8. And now how do we say 6 less than that? Minus 6. There we go. Okay, Leah, what are our numbers in this problem? Okay, so we have a number and 1. So it kind of looks like we only have 2 numbers in here, but I think you'll see as we go on, this one's a little different. What letter do you want to use for number? M. Okay. All right, David, what words in there tell us what operations we might do? What do we do for sum? Add. What else? What else? Half. Yeah, how do we find half of something? What? Anybody, how can we find half of something? What do we do to find half? Andre? Divide by what? Yeah, we have to divide by 2. So there's our other number, is 2, because we're going to divide by 2. So we're finding the sum of half a number and 1. Haley Brown, do you have any idea how we would write the whole expression here? of all, let's take half of m. So what are we gonna do with the m?
I'll divide it.
Yeah, so how would I write that?
M over half.
Not over a
Oh,
half, but over, what do we divide by when we divide something in half?
2.
2. So we do m over 2. Now we need to find the sum of this and 1. So now what do I do?
Add 1 to it.
Yep, plus. Okay, last one. 2 less than 4 times the number. Kendra, what are our numbers in this problem?
2 and 4.
Anything else? Look at what we did for these ones. We always circled usually 3 things. What else did we circle that wasn't actually a number, but it kind of was a number?
Oh,
Yeah, the word a number. What letter do you want to use to represent a number? K, okay. K for Kendra. Okay, Dennis, what are some words in there that tell us what we're going to do?
Oh, less than,
Less than? What will we do for less than?
subtract,
Okay, what else?
time,
What do we do for times? Good. Okay, Alexis, how would we write that whole thing, whole expression, do you know?
4, 2 minus 2.
Or
4
what?
times 2 minus
Wait, 4 times 2, where are you getting that 2 from?
2. Oh, wait, no. 4. Sorry, 4 times K.
4 times K, there we go, 4 times K minus 2. Okay, this is where we're gonna stop. We actually won't be doing this on Get More Math today, because Get More Math does not have this, so you won't have very many Get More Math points, because we're gonna do a paper assignment.